Okay, I think that's it. We're here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to June. We missed last month doing the live stream last month, but we're here today. We'll talk a little bit about last month and we'll go into July as well. So this will be interesting. Hi, everybody. Welcome to. Do you hear doubles? Is that me or you? Last month.
No, everything sounds good on my side.
Oh, it was me. I started hearing myself. So there we go. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the astrology coming up. So Mark, how are you? First off,
I'm not enjoying Uranus and Gemini. I'm not.
why?
That mixed with the Saturn and Neptune and Aries is no. Just no.
Can I have my money back? I want a refund.
Yes. I would like a refund on my purchase of 2026.
That's funny. Okay. So, all right. Well, that's your personal whatever's going on. Okay, and that's interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this and talk about it. So last month we had, obviously, like you just said, Uranus went into Gemini, and then we also had what other big things happened last month that are carrying over to this month?
So we just had the Sun Uranus conjunction like a week ago, and then we were still kind of in the Mars Pluto square. Mars entered Taurus, and so it's square to Pluto and Aquarius. The Sun's kind of separating from its conjunction to Uranus, but it is, yeah, it's just like it's super chaotic all day long, almost every day. And the other thing to talk about at some point is with all the outer planets at the really super low degrees of the signs they're in, we're getting these like crazy, insane moon void of course periods. We're not the standard, 4 or 5 hours, whatever. Those are rare. We're getting these like total blackout days that are like fairly frequently. Started like mid-April. It got crazy.
I really haven't. I'm gonna pull up Sirius on this computer, on this monitor. So I have two monitors. If I put it in here, it just, I don't know, it messes with the video. So yeah. I might use AstroSeek. I can do that. So this is the one way though that we can see both of ourselves and also talk about the astrology. So yeah, what you're saying is these void of course moons. They're times of feeling like stillness, right? How would you interpret a void of course if you were gonna tell someone who doesn't know what that means?
So the nuts and bolts half of it is that every 2.5 days the moon changes signs. After it's made all of its exact aspects in whatever sign it's in, from that period after its last exact aspect until it enters the next sign, there's a void period, and it now normally these are, I mean, it can be as short as a minute. I think that the norm is probably like 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. Once in a while, you would get one that's, longer. But just since all the outer planets are in the really low degrees of the signs that they're in, there's not that like stop gap. It's like, especially like when the moon enters a earth or fire or air or fire sign, and makes all these aspects immediately. So you get these short periods of like huge energy where the moon is making aspects to Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and whatever inner planets are in the air or fire signs. And then you get this long void period because it just burns through most of the all the aspects that it'll make while it's in that moon sign. So when you have these moon void periods, it's normally low energy because there's no emotion behind anything. There's no intent. It's hard to focus. So it's not. I promise you, it is not good to do anything of like major importance during a moon voided course. Just because there's nothing. Here's my stupid analogy of. Do you ever like someone says they sent you an email and you read the email and you know that you read the email, but you can't remember anything that was in it, even if you read it 2 minutes ago. That's my moon voided course analogy there. It's like you go through the motions, but you don't emotionally hook onto anything. It just kind of and I guarantee you that things don't work. You can plan dates and schedules and whatever, make lists of lists. They just stuff does not follow through. Things they don't come to fruition when you plan or do stuff during a moon voided course. I mean, you can cut your grass or do laundry, or if you have 11 hours of yard work or something to do. I mean, you can do that. It's not that you can't do anything, but like you can't do anything of importance because it's just no matter how hard you cross the T's and dot the I's, it goes nowhere, and you end up having to redo it. And so, since all the outer planets are in masculine signs now, the entire planet is an A-type personality now. Everyone you run into all day long, everyone's ramped up and fired up, and they're ready to go a million miles an hour, and it goes nowhere. It's just a bunch of yelling and screaming and people rushing. And the more stuff you do, that like, again, I'm talking like important stuff. The more stuff you do in the moon voided course, the more stuff you have to clean up afterwards. None of it works. It doesn't work.
I'm moving this around. Sorry, I'm just making it easier to see. But no, I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that the void of course moon, when you do things, it's not quite like when you're feeling a Mercury retrograde situation, where things seem to go a little wonky. It's more along the lines of it feels like there's no inertia. This is where I've kind of come to understand it. The inertia is not there. The actual thing that gets you going, because when you think about physics is something in motion stays in motion. It's almost like there's a pause in that motion, right? So that's what it feels like to me. And when it's the long ones, it feels like they take you through that moment, or we all go through these periods where we're like, I'm kind of not in sync with myself where I normally am. That's how I kind of feel these void of course moons. My question to you though is, when you do the void of course moons, it's the very last aspect that one of the planets makes to another planet before it leaves the sign. That's the void of course period. Do you use just the Ptolemaic aspects, or do you use the minor aspects at all?
Yeah, just the major aspects.
The major Ptolemaic.
Yeah, the last aspect the moon makes to a planet. So it's just the 5 major aspects.
Yeah. And so basically, because as we look at the chart, if you guys can see the chart, as you look at the chart, you can see basically when the moon is at 6, I don't know if I can make this bigger. Is it 6 Virgo over here? And Pluto's at 5 Aquarius, of course, Neptune and Saturn. And this is what you're talking about. And Mars now, you don't use Chiron, I'm assuming.
No.
Right. And Mercury and Venus move the quickest, of course. So they're a little further. But as soon as one of the planets makes an aspect to one of these, you end up getting that void of course moon, which that lasts a couple of hours. Sometimes it can last a whole day. It's just, I think you said one lasted 30 hours was one of the longest one you remembered, or something like that.
So normally, like, the moon void period will be 4 or 5 hours or 3, but just since April 20th till just over a month, we've had eight moon void of course periods that were longer than 17 hours.
Wow.
And we've had 5 that lasted more than 24 hours. So that's an entire day.
Yeah.
And so the 8th one is coming. So if you're scoring at home, you can this coming Sunday morning, May 31st, the moon goes void at 9:21 in the morning, and it's going to be void until 9:19 p.m. on the Monday. So that's two entire
entire days
of your waking hours, pretty much. So I mean, that's Sunday morning until Monday night. The moon's void for 36 hours. That's and it's normally you would have one that's like 12 or 14 hours, maybe once a month or once every other month or something. But there's going to be 8 of these in like a 6-week period.
Yeah. And it's a lot. What do you know the other dates or no?
Yeah. So May 21st through the 22nd, we had a 30-hour moon void of course. May 17th through the 18th, we had a 30-hour moon void of course. May 7th and 8th, we had a 17-hour. May 4th through May 5th, we had 22 hours. April 27th, we had 22 hours. April 24th, we had 27 hours. That's more. There's only 24 hours in a day. April 20th through 21st, we had a 36-hour.
Wow.
So that's never happened in my lifetime that I can ever recall.
That there's that many at one time.
I mean, that's just a 6-week period, and that's 9 days.
Yeah.
It's like wiped out of a 6-week period.
That's insane. And I was just thinking last week, there were days that were really like, I was doing great and I was in flow with everything. And then there was like the next day I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? I should have looked at the void of course moons. I actually thought about that because there is a distinct feeling when you pay attention to them that, you can tell almost that, something is not, I said to myself, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. And I kind of joked to myself about that, but I'm like, no, it's not, because I know it's not. But clearly something is going on. So maybe it was the void of course. I'll have to look back on, what days those were, but I'm very curious to see, what days was I really in flow, because they were so contrasting that one day was like, the flow was just like, you're doing everything's working right. No hiccups in technology, because, there's a lot of that going on in life in general, with all of the new technology that we have. So it was definitely something, but Uranus is also making that trine to my sun right now, and then also we'll be going on to the other planets in Aquarius. So I thought maybe it's that I'm tapping into this Uranian energy or something, but maybe it's also when the dips happen, the void of course moons were going on. That's very possible. Yeah, so I'm gonna look at those. I'll go back and listen to this and look at those afterwards and what I was doing. So you guys can see the screen. Okay, the other wheel wasn't working, but at least this one works, so we can at least see what's going on. The moon recently must have just gotten out of void, of course, because it was the beginning of, this is Friday. Let's see.
Last night the moon entered Scorpio, like 9:48 or something like that.
Yeah, because this is, I guess, right now, and it's in beginning of Scorpio. So
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so and it's making.
So there was yesterday is a there was a 13-hour moon void, of course. So from like 7:32 in the morning until 8:53 last night. So that's a little bit over 13 hours. So if you so if there's those days like when you have to get up and go to work and like the moon's void the entire day, like it's hard to get up and moving and what. So just thinking back to yesterday, when we're filming this, May 27th was yesterday. So the whole day from 7:30 in the morning till almost 9 at night, the moon was void that whole period. So if you have a normal work schedule, you have to go in somewhere. I mean, the moon was void the whole day. So if you did anything important at work yesterday, guess what? You're going to be redoing it.
Interesting. That's an interesting analogy for it too. Yeah. Well, yesterday was very difficult for me, and in the evening I did start getting, well, I had web developer problems. I don't know. It was one of those email support type days, and it was a lot of going around in circles, and I got literally nothing accomplished. I got a bug fixed. That wasn't my bug, but it was another bug. And then in the evening it got resolved, but I was then like, oh, I should do something, but I said no, go to sleep, because tomorrow will be ruined. But yeah, I know, but all day I was kind of like dealing with fixing problems. So I don't know if that's a void of course moon thing or something else. But tell me, before we jump into June, what thing in May was big that you feel, I mean, I kind of asked you this, but then we got talking to void, of course. But what thing in May, what big transit in May happened that could be leading us into June?
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing I think was the end of last week. There was the Sun Uranus conjunction, and that at like 1.5 or 2 Gemini, and then this Tuesday, like 2 days ago, like early in the morning, was the Mars Pluto square at like 5.5 Taurus Aquarius. So I think those two things in close combination like that did a number on a lot of people. That's just too much. And we're gonna have these Sun Uranus conjunctions in Gemini for the next like 8 years. So this was the first one, but each year it'll be a few degrees further along in Gemini when they happen. But it is definitely the trickster energy.
I know, my Venus is in 5.5 degrees Aquarius, right? I don't know if you remember that or not, but I'm not sure. I've been beat up by Pluto a lot with my early Aquarius sun, and now Venus, and then Mars. Oh, and Pluto had to come along, and so did Mars. Just, hey, what's going on?
Right.
It wasn't bad enough that Uranus was on my ascendant for like forever. Now I have to get beat up by Pluto. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. That just goes to show you, when you look at your own personal chart, when we talk about the planets at what degree they are, if you look at your own personal chart. So for me, my Venus is at 5 degrees of, I almost said Pluto, 5 degrees of Aquarius. And that is right where Pluto is right now, 5 degrees of Aquarius, right over here. I think you can see my little cursor. And that's the thing. When aspects will hit a certain planet in your chart. This creates a circuit of energy that makes you feel, whatever's going on in your life amplified with the energy of the planets. I don't think that astrology, and this is a philosophical question for you, Mark, but I don't think astrology dictates what happens to you. I think it provides energetic pathways for you to go through, if that makes sense. And you have the opportunity, depending on what's going on in your own life. How does that work? You know what I mean? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's kind of how, I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot lately for some reason. That's kind of how I got into astrology, because I was, amongst the crazy ramblings in my head, I was like, how did I get into this? Because I'm around a lot of people like at my day job and stuff that like don't know. I do just go along with whatever the news says or whatever, and I'm like, how do I get into this? And it was like, um, astrology explains all the things that seem to not make sense or seem to not have the 3D world doesn't have an explanation for. That's how I gravitated towards this. Was this just seemed to explain all the stuff that nothing else explains?
That makes sense. Yeah, and I mean, I was just thinking how I got into it. I was just interested in learning about anything that was kind of not mainstream. That was just my mind got geared to that in like the early age, and then astrology just happened to be one of those things. But I didn't really deep dive into astrology till like just because I was busy in my very young years, raising kids, and then into the early 2000s, and that was when I met you. We were doing blog talk. We were like that. I mean, that's been like over 20 years for sure. But that's when I dug into astrology a lot more. So it's so cool because it does capture you. And then when you have events such as a big event with the transiting planets or the progressed planets. I don't know. Do you use progressions very much?
I do. I use them some. Probably not as much as I should, but I definitely like. I'll look at my progress chart frequently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially the moon. I think that gives you a lot. My progressed moon just left Scorpio, which I think the moon in Scorpio is the most intense, at least from my perception. It's very deep and intense. It's not bad per se, but it depends on where you are in the world. If you are in this negative headspace, it can bring you to the dark places. If you're in this good headspace, it can bring you to the bliss of connecting with the divine, right? So there's the contrast of that. The function underneath it is that you go deep, right? And so my progressed moon, and for 2.5 years, the moon stays in a sign in the progressed chart, and for those 2.5 years, you go through those vibes, if you will, of that sign emotionally. And leaving Scorpio into Sagittarius, like, it's so interesting because I looked back on when this happened to me the first time, and that was a period of freedom when I started like exploring the world around me more than I ever had, because prior to that I was busy, and then I ended up like with the progressive Scorpio moon, I was kind of thinking about things in a more internal way, and then kind of people came into my life and I just blossomed, if you will, from that. I don't know if you've noticed the progressed moon specifically like that, but when you look at the progressed moon and how it's relating to you, I think it's really telling. So it's very interesting to me.
Yeah, that's good. Another thought on that is that it's not just what happens to you, it's when it happens to you.
Right.
So if you have whatever death of a friend or family member or something, like if it happens like when your progressed moon is in Sagittarius, you're gonna measure that and respond to it much differently if that kind of a thing happens when your progressed moon's in Scorpio. The Scorpio holds on to stuff, whereas the Sagittarius is more big picture and kind of can roll with the punches better. Whereas like the Scorpio part, if you like progressed moon in Scorpio, it holds on and processes things on a deeper level. So depending on one thing, just if anyone's scoring at home again, like look at astro.com or whatever, where you can pull up your progress chart. Just look at major life events and if you have, 2 jobs you got fired from, or 2 times you moved, or whatever. Just look at how you process those differently, and look where your progressed moon was at that time. You'll totally filter that information differently.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to do it, but yeah, this is astro.com. You can enter in your birth information here and so let me just show you where I went. Astro.com, and then charts and calculations, and then just click chart drawing, and you can make an account if you want. I probably have one. I think I do. Or you can just hit this to get your birth chart if you don't know how to do it. I'm using AstroSeek just because it's easy to turn the wheel so we can see it as we're talking about it. But if you want to do your chart, that's a very easy way to do it. I made a video about it too. If you look through my videos, you can see years ago I made a video talking about that. But I think it's really helpful to have that printed out. There's probably a progressed part to that too. The progressed, it might be called secondary progressions. And those are that is when it's just a much slower moving chart, and it measures more along the lines of your seasons of your life, And what's interesting when you said that about the progressed Scorpio moon, I know that this didn't cause this, but I did lose 2 family members in the progressed Scorpio moon, and a cat. No, 2 cats actually, and they all passed away in that time. But for me, death is of course, it's very tragic and sad, but at the same time, there's a reverence and a depth and a witnessing of that transition that is heavy and deep, and I think maybe that happening during the progressed moon maybe gave me a different view of that than if it, like you said, if it was Scorpio. So yeah, that's interesting to look at. It's interesting to think too, because what moves in the progress chart so much is the moon, and then the inner planets. The outer planets, you don't even really look at them because they move within maybe a couple of degrees in a year. It depends on the planet. Within a lifetime, not a year. So okay, now that we derailed 3 times, let's talk. And that is my fault. Okay, hi ADHD. No. Let's talk about what we've got going on for June. So June 1st. Well, is there anything in the end of May that you wanted to talk about before we got to June?
No, I just that Sun Uranus conjunction is chaotic, and then the Mars Pluto square is more transformative, and kind of the opposite of fast moving.
The opposite of fast moving. I will actually make a PDF of this when we and I'll put it in the description box too. So if you're watching this later in the future, you can download the PDF just to see them if you want to print it out or whatever, so you can look at them throughout the month or whatnot. But yeah. Okay. So are you ready to start? I guess we can start. We start off the month with Mercury going into Cancer. Mercury going into Cancer. What do you have for us with Mercury in Cancer? What is that like?
So Mercury is your mental processes. So after Mercury has been in Gemini, which is one of the 2 signs that it rules, that's lots of, Mercury in Gemini is the social butterfly. So Mercury in Cancer is much more sensitive and emotional and nurturing, and it's definitely moves a lot slower than Mercury in Gemini. So like, I'd relate Mercury in Cancer to like being sentimental and home life, things like that, nurturing things and things in like your home environment, as opposed to the Mercury in Gemini likes to explore tons of different things a short period. So that's hopefully this will calm down. It's not going to. Hopefully this will calm down some of the Aries and Uranus energy a little bit. But
the sound went a little quiet there for a second.
I did that. That was me.
You did that intentionally? You're effing with me now? Okay, so I always think about Mercury and Cancer having also a more sensitive, intuitive type. When you think about Cancer is ruled by the moon, the feeling of Mercury, the mental planet in Cancer, having this more feeling communication style than even a communication style that's like over, like out there, like Gemini going 100 miles an hour in different places. Kind of the idea of Mercury and Gemini, although Mercury is ruled, Gemini rules, Mercury rules Gemini. I said that right. They behave, right? But there's this flow of communication that's like quick and goes in 30 directions and is okay, but like you said, it slows down and it brings that sensitivity to it, to the communication. Don't you have Mercury in Cancer? You have something in Cancer.
I have a stellium. I have Moon, Jupiter, midheaven, and the late degrees in Cancer.
That's right. I knew that. And I just had to think about it for a second, but you're right. Yeah, Moon, Jupiter, and your midheaven. Yeah, that actually makes sense too with you. So then, since you have those planets opposite, or well, where Cancer is, Mercury is going to be going over Cancer, but it'll be later in the month because Mercury just enters into Cancer, right? So when that happens, your thoughts are activated by the planets in which they're going over. Is that how you would interpret that to someone?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're able to whatever planet Mercury is aspecting or going over, you'll communicate that better. So like if Mercury's going over your Mars, what people are going to get is the angry side of you. If it's going over your Venus, they're going to get the loving side of you. If it's going over your Uranus, then they're going to get the shocking side of you.
That's a great way to put it, though. But thinking about it from that perspective, that gives context to it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting. And then the zodiac sign layered on top of that gives the like an energy on top of it too. Yeah. Right. Very cool. That's a great like analogy. Okay, so that'll be going on for probably 3 weeks or so. Mercury in Cancer. It switches later in the month.
Actually,
it's moving fast. I think.
It is moving fast. It moves super fast through Gemini, but actually it slows down. We've got a much longer Mercury. All the Mercury retrogrades are in water signs this year.
Oh, that's right. They don't even go back into air signs, right?
Yeah.
In water the whole time. So it gets to the end towards the end of the month, right? And when Mercury is closest to the sun, by the way, I don't know if you probably know this, Mark, but in case anybody else doesn't, that means it's a halfway point of the Mercury retrograde cycle, and when it's conjunct the sun, that means it's the halfway point of the when it's not retrograde, but when it's opposite, that is the halfway point of the retrograde cycle. So when it goes around this, when it's in that spot by the sun, it's moving at its fastest rate, and then it slows down to go retrograde. And just obviously that's just from our perspective out, looking out into the skies. So not literally breaking and going backwards. That would be strange and might throw the whole universe off if it did that. Okay, so
how would we notice at this point?
Truthfully, it might really actually be what's going on, and this is the problem. We just haven't figured it out yet. That's funny. Okay, so let's move on. We have on the 2nd, Sun sextile to Saturn. So Sun in of course in Gemini, sextile to Saturn in Aries. So right here we see that forming here. So that'll just be a day away. Sun sextile Saturn, I think that gives us the ability to stabilize something that we're thinking about, that's in our everyday life. Obviously, if you have planets 12 degrees of Aries or Gemini, that'll be affecting you more, or 12 degrees around the zodiac, because then it'll be making different aspects. But that will be something, and there's much deeper than that too, but that will be something for you to lean into. I feel like that gives you stable ability to move things forward, but can also make you feel like you're not, and you're trying and you're getting stuck. It's like either or. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So, any kind of Saturn transit, like aspects to or whatever. I think those are good days to like put things into play. But I mean, unless it's like a square or something. But in general, that's a good time to like put like Sun sextile Saturn would be a good day to put something into play that you wanted to start or to of course Sun and Gemini can be lists. Saturn could be making actually writing down the lists that are in your head. But
taking action on them.
Saturn rules our 3D reality, so on days when you have positive aspects to Saturn, those are good days to like actually start a project or getting something flowing where you need to get something into a solid form, a solid structure. I think are good.
Is anything solid anymore? I'm feeling like nothing's solid anymore.
Not for long.
I'm just saying.
No.
Uh-oh, you have a bad echo going on, Christina said. You know what? I can put my headphones on. Thank you, Christina. I'll put my headphones on. Maybe that'll work. Turn them off my computer. Thank you for telling us, because echoes are not good.
Oh, she's saying I have a bad echo.
Yeah, but it could be coming through my speaker. Is it better, I hope, now? Because you're coming through my ears, not my speakers. Well, she can let us know in the chat. Yeah. Usually that's how it is. If it's an echo, if it's coming through my speakers. But anyway, she can let us know. Okay. Yeah. So back to Saturn and the sun. I mean, let's pick on it a little bit more, because I think Saturn and the sun. Oh, good. She says it's good. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, that doesn't last very long, because the sun, of course, moves about a degree a day. So that would just be like a day or so long aspects going on. But then on the 3rd, Mercury comes to squaring Neptune. So Mercury, it's a square, right? Mercury in Cancer, of course, over here. Let me skip a day ahead. And then Neptune over here. This is not the exact timing of it, but this does happen on the 3rd of June. This can give us, oh, well, you start with this one. You're the Neptunian person.
Yeah. So, um, being a multiple Cancer person, I would tell you that uh, the Cancer energy does not fare well when mixed with the Aries planet. Um, and so the Mercury in Cancer is very quiet. The Neptune in Aries is muffled screaming in the background. So people so when Mercury is square Neptune, people's perceptions of things are not accurate
Hmm.
because Mercury is your mental processes, Neptune is the subconscious, and Neptune is the pink fluffy clouds. And Neptune is full of vagaries. So Mercury square Neptune is something not being mentally processed properly.
Hmm. Well,
Whether
yeah.
it's news events or whatever, it's not you're not perceiving things as they are, or there's a big miscommunication.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's like mixed signals can happen, right? In the mind, mixed signals either felt or communicated can happen. Yeah, because it's like you said pink fluffy clouds. That was our term we coined for
Sure.
Neptune in Pisces. But I
Yeah,
think in Aries, it's like they're on fire.
yeah, yeah. So
Like,
Mercury and Neptune don't trust each other.
is it just because the Aries and the Cancer part, or do you think it's
Just
just
in
the
general,
square? Oh, in
just
general,
because Mercury being the ruler of Gemini and Virgo,
the
very
mind, yeah.
fast, very quick moving, very analytical, whereas Neptune being the ruler of Pisces is much, it's about vagaries and
It's
uh,
not clear. Yeah.
it is not clear. It's up for debate. Whereas Mercury wants to make decisions and move forward and keep analyzing things. Neptune wants to sit where it is and take in the whole thing. And
Immerse themselves.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
seep through, right?
absolutely. And I can give you um, I'll give you a personal example of the Neptune energy is like I didn't go to college or anything like that. I mean, I graduated high school, but um, I could never sit and do the Mercury processing of Pisces people don't learn how other people do. Like if you have heavy Neptune placements or your sun sign Pisces or something, um, you you become something for a while until you totally understand it up and down, like the going to class 5 days a week for 4 or 6 or 8 years. That just like the thought of that just like bored the hell out of me. Like when I find something that I'm into, like I'm 100% in on it. I just
Mm.
totally immerse myself in in whatever it is and learn it upside and down, in and out, over and back. The idea of the starting and stopping of Mercury doesn't jive well with, and it works in the opposite direction too. The Mercury wants, just give me the quick details and then let me move on to the next thing. And Neptune is like, no, I want to understand this from A to Z and how it works. So that's kind of the lack of trust between Mercury and Neptune. So when you have those in a difficult aspect, then that's where you kind of get that them not perceiving, because Mercury's wanting to go too fast and Neptune's wanting to go too slow. There's not the common ground there really to.
Yeah, and Mercury prefers, I mean, maybe not, it's not always the clearest, but it prefers clarity, I think, more than Neptune is more like
Oh,
lives in the fogs or the depth of the water and
absolutely.
yeah, Neptunian thing. Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking maybe your depth too could be that the Mars, you have Mars in Scorpio, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
maybe that's also part of it too, because Scorpio has that too. That's the water energy, right? The water energy of going deeper instead of up here, like the air was more like cerebral.
Yeah. I did just another. Here, I'll just throw in another little personal tidbit there since you mentioned that. So I have Mars and Scorpio, and it's exactly quincunx to
Your
my
Saturn.
Saturn in Aries. So I am traditionally a poor starter. I'm not good. I'm not a morning person. I mean I get up early because the dogs wake us up or whatever, but I'm not a morning person, and I need my coffee before the onslaught of the day starts. I'm just not good. I'm not good before that. But then, like once I can establish and get into the groove, then I outperform over the course of the day, but I underperform in the morning usually because I'm just not. I have a startup problem with the Mars Saturn quincunx. I have to force those two to work together.
That's understandable. My Mars in the 12th house in Taurus totally vibes with that because I have been liable to like go to make myself coffee and cat feed the cats at the same time. So I've got the coffee machine and the cat bowls, and I'm here dumping beans in the cat bowl, and I'm like, what's not going on? Oh, whoops, wrong thing. So I have to start over. I've done that more than once because I'm trying to make my brain start like catching up
Right,
with the physical reality of my body. It's like, ugh,
right.
yeah, so I can understand that. I'm actually coming up on my Mars return, which I'm excited about because I started running again. So that's a good
Oh,
thing for me. But yeah, Mars will do that to you, especially with the Saturn energy like that. And yeah, but the long haul, like you said, that the I'll see it to the end, and I might even go past, because that's that staying power of Saturn, right? That you're talking about
right,
having the ability. Yeah, I have
right.
that same kind of vibe too.
And in the second half of the day, when everyone else is winding down, I'm still like, oh no, I'm just now getting into the flow.
Right, and then I'm like, oh, I have to go to bed, or I'm never gonna wake up.
Right, right, right.
That is exactly me. Funny. Oh gosh, I actually let myself do that more in the summertime because it's hot in the daytime here. So I mean, it's hot everywhere, but yeah. So, okay, let's go back to the next thing that's going on. This is the ninth. So we have a jump from the third to the ninth. So let's just go. Oh, you're gonna do that to me, huh? Well, the third to the ninth, we have Venus conjuncting Jupiter. I promise I'm human. Um, let's see if I can go several days. Okay, maybe it'll let me. Okay. Nice. Venus conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. Ah, that's really sweet. That's going to be a nice energy on 26 degrees of Cancer. If you have any planets at 26 degrees, that's going to be a nice energy for you. What are you feeling about that?
Yeah, no, that's that's what I'm actually looking forward to. My Jupiter is stationary at 24 Cancer, and then my midheaven's 29 Cancer.
So it's right like at the midpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my very few feel-gooderies for the year because there's not a lot this year.
Maybe you and Lauren should like go out to dinner, have some romantic evening or time during that time. So that's what Jupiter makes things big, and Venus makes things emotional. Our emotional connection are what we're attracted to you. So expanding relationships, connections, whatever. And since it's your Jupiter return there too, and also your midhaven, go do something fun.
Yeah, that's
And
and Cancer is very food oriented. Cancer and Taurus are the two biggest food oriented. I'm very trainable that way.
you're like my cats. I get trained them with
Yeah.
the food, shake the bag. Oh my
My,
gosh. Speaking of cats, I couldn't believe it. I got my cats new toys, Silvervine. I didn't know what that was. And I gave them little sticks. And I gave that to my Luna cat. And she was so high she wouldn't come to the shaking of the treats. So it didn't work for her. But normally that's what happens. They're very food motivated. That's a good thing, I think. I don't know. That's a good thing. So, says the Taurus rising person.
yeah. Yeah, so does even Venus conjunct Jupiter in any sign is that's that's about as good as you can get for a planetary combination. I mean, that's a very positive because Jupiter is optimistic, Venus is sweet, so that's a good lineup. And if you've got stuff in the 26 degrees of Earth or water signs or whatever, uh, that's definitely a good day to put things in play.
Mm, yeah, I have nothing that. Well, no, I have. Let's see, nothing in water or earth and water that late. Nothing in water though. Yeah, so that's okay. Um, it will be aspecting in other ways. So after that, we have Mercury square Saturn, and I think that's when we have to start making lists because Mercury squaring Saturn is, I think, our list making thing.
Yeah.
But let's see, where is Saturn? Where is Saturn here? Oh, Mercury here. There we go. Squaring Saturn. Is that the right? Yeah.
Yep. Mercury in Cancer squaring Saturn in Aries. So I'll tell you. I'm pretty sure I know how that one's going to go. Mercury wants to move fast and breeze through stuff. Saturn is going to, whatever your plans are for that day, you can rest assured that a force bigger than you is probably going to change those plans.
Hmm.
So when I see Mercury square Saturn, I'm like, um, take care of the bare minimum things that you need to do, because you're probably going to get something else thrown onto your plate that you weren't expecting. And I'll tell you too, you can probably, because that's at 1:39 in the morning. So I'm going to say that probably the main effect of that is maybe going to be felt on the 9th, the day when the Venus Jupiter conjunction is. At very least, with that, you're going to have to reshuffle your plans one or both of those days a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, and it seems like there would be the ability to have focused concentration then, but it might come out like as in pressure, right? Don't you think that could be
Yep.
like some kind of pressure? Wasn't that the one that you said would be the list making? No, was that Mercury and Saturn making list, or was it Mercury and Virgo?
Oh, I think, yeah, probably both would work.
Probably both would work.
I would guess that's going to be, you're going to try to go through with what your agenda is for that day, and then you're going to be stopped against your will to pay specific attention to one specific thing instead of breathing. So like that's not like, if I had a bunch of errands to run, I would not. That's not a day I'd go run a bunch of errands, because Mercury square Saturn is, you're gonna get stopped and forced to focus on one or two things and not just run all over the place.
Like you get a little locked in, right?
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and you could use that for a good reason, like if you're trying to focus on something. But that makes sense, not wanting to have too much like external stimulus going on too. Yeah, it might help.
Yes.
Okay. And then we move on a couple days. We have Venus. I think Venus goes into Leo on the 13th. So Venus enters into Leo, the mark of summer. Well, not quite, but
Yeah, very close.
Very close. Yeah. So Venus in Leo is a feeling of what? A feeling of maybe expression, creativity, wanting to be appreciated.
I think Venus entering Leo is wanting to have fun.
Yes, wanting to have fun. Oops, mommy's calling. Turn that down. I'll call her back. Yeah, it's wanting to have fun. And Venus stays into Leo for how long? Do you know?
So that usually Venus stays in a sign for about 3 weeks, similar to Mercury.
Let's see. I'm gonna look Venus into. When does Venus go retrograde? I don't remember the last time it went retrograde. It's been a minute. Venus. Oh, till July 9th. It's there.
We do have a Venus retrograde, and it's October. It happens in October, and it's in the lower degrees of Scorpio through the higher degrees of Libra. We have it. Yeah, actually in October, we've got a Venus and Mercury retrogrades, both in Scorpio. The Venus jumps back into Libra, but the Mercury retrograde's totally engulfed in Scorpio.
I don't know if you ever look at the ephemeras in Sirius.
Not too much. I tend to look in
the paper ephemeras. Yeah. There it is. And it's there all of, okay, it goes back into the middle of November. Oh, great. It gets all the way back to 22 Libra. Okay, that's interesting. Well, Venus is an interesting retrograde planet because it only goes retrograde once every about 18 months or so. Isn't that right? About once every 18 months. But all the other planets go once or more times a year. Mercury goes 3 times a year. So that's why we're always like, Mercury retrograde. Oh no. But yeah. So right now, though, as you can see, the only one we have retrograde is Pluto right here, the one that's in red. So anyway, that's another way to look at the planets other than just the wheel here. So, okay, what are you thinking about? Well, we said Venus in Leo, so it's going to be there till July. That's time for expression, creativity, wanting to be appreciated, wanting something. I don't know, the Leo adornment thing, I think is also true. And that's there till July. So that'll be an interesting energy for all of us, especially if you have planets in the Leo the Leo sign, or Aquarius, any of the fixed signs really. And then on the 16th, Venus comes to trine Neptune. What do you think about that?
The aspect there, because Neptune, like one of its levels is like idealism. So I think Venus trine Neptune is a good time for like manifesting, like maybe not putting things into place, but visualizing what you want something to look like, or what you want, and I just, let's see, what is that for Leo Aries. So to me, that's a harmonious. Venus and Neptune are both kind of tend to be, pleasant planets that tend to, so that to me, that's just like imagining how you want something to work out, or how you want a direction you want things to go. Like on a personal level, I think people should feel like harmonious at that time. Um,
You see too, I was just looking, if you see, Venus is still kind of opposite Pluto there too, right? So I mean it's
yep.
a little, not exactly, and it's coming to get there exact to it. So we've got that going on, but it's also just before this was connecting with Uranus, which is over here at 2 degrees of Gemini. So there's this Venus, Uranus, Neptune, and then there's also a Pluto energy. At some point, this would be what we would call an isotrop in vibrational astrology, and it's when the 4 planets make these same angles, not same angles, but these same aspects to each other, and they're symmetrically in the chart together. This means they're working with each other. So there's an intuition and a deep dive, because it's got all of these outer planets. Intuition, I say, with the Uranus and the Neptune part of it, and then the deep dive with the Pluto part of it. So that's all working during this time. I would say that's probably one of the stronger aspects or stronger things that we would look at for this time of this month so far. There might be others that we haven't talked about, but so far this seems like it's going to be one of those times in the days surrounding June 16th. And it's not even it's like a lot of things have been going on that are difficult, but maybe it's not even a bad thing. It could be used for something sweet and something energetic that you want to express. Remember Dionysus? He used to always say that Pluto was like excreting something, and that always stuck in my head. But it's kind of, I think he said that because it was like pulling something out, from the dark, the hidden. That's the Pluto energy. So they're kind of all working in a balance in that mid-month time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's good though. Don't you think that's positive? It's almost like the calm before the storm, because July is a little bit chaotic, or chaotic.
Oh,
Did I just make up that word?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen that big aspect we have coming in July. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, that's what I meant, July. I think I said June. But yeah, I agree. So July is a little bit on the more chaotic. So enjoy it. Enjoy the
Yeah.
middle of the month. We have on the 19th, so the next thing we're going to talk about is Chiron moving into Taurus. So Chiron moves into Taurus. Chiron's over here on the chart. He's at 29 degrees. So that's going to be an interesting transit. Chiron moving into Taurus for anybody that has Taurus Taurus planets or Taurus placements in their chart. What do you think about Chiron and Taurus? Do you know how long it stays? I can tell you in a second. Into Taurus.
So I know it retrogrades back next year. It retrogrades back into Aries.
Hmm.
Um,
I guess we
oh,
don't have it on here.
so Chiron stays 20, 26 years, I think, to go through all the.
The zodiac, isn't it like close to the progressed moon, 2.5 years a sign or something?
Yes, I believe that is.
Something like that, yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, I know it. This is not a good book to pick. Yeah, so it's. Let's go back into Aries. Um,
Let's see. I think I just got it back into Sirius for some reason.
okay,
Get
yeah,
out.
like the middle of next year, Chiron is back in Aries still. So it's like a year next May or late April of next year is when Chiron goes into Taurus for good for its stay there. We got this is the initial entrance of Chiron into Taurus. Um, but it's going to retrograde back into Aries.
Hmm.
Uh, so so Chiron in Taurus is going to be it should be less chaotic than Chiron and Aries has been. Um, but to
Hmm.
me, Taurus is kind of like your immediate surroundings and stuff. It's more more about your day-to-day stuff, how you're able to provide for yourself, how you're able to can you like Taurus is money and food, and so to me like Taurus is like your immediate needs, like your day-to-day needs and concerns. So to me, that Chiron entering Taurus is gonna kind of be um, where you have to make shifts and adjustments in like your daily life, like your immediate surroundings. Whereas
Hmm.
Chiron and Aries has kind of been um, setting boundaries. I think is what Chiron and Aries has been about, is where to set boundaries. That's been
Hmm.
one of the themes, anyways. Um, whereas I think Chiron and Taurus is going to be more personal and uh, less about conquering and more about internal shifting. Because Taurus being ruled by Venuses, and it does have to do with love and relationships, but it's kind of the bigger level of Venus and Taurus is how do you feed, clothe, and house yourself, your personal resources and things like that. And I'd say with uh, kind of the way things are going on a global scale, I think this kind of fits in with um, think local, not global.
Hmm.
I think is a good way to look at that.
Hmm. So it's like like long-term stability involving healing or like things that you value, personally value or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And like maybe a healing towards that. When did you say it moves out of Taurus? Do you know? Or maybe you didn't know.
oh
I
uh
looked at Sirius and I think it says 2033, but I don't know if that's right. I might be doing something wrong.
That's probably correct.
That's when it goes into Gemini. So I didn't know it was actually that long. It stayed that long in a sign, but clearly I don't know everything.
Uh,
Thank God.
Yeah, 2033 is.
Yeah, like mid
Or
2033.
Yeah, 20, and actually it does a retrograde at the, so it's actually May of 2034 um
When it finally moves out. So this is
yeah,
a longer haul then, and that gives ideas about healing, stability, the standard everyday life things, value, those things. That's interesting.
so Chiron stays in a sign for about 8 years, but it's yeah, so it takes Chiron 50, not 26, it takes Chiron 50 years to go through the zodiac. Because of where it is in the ecliptic, it takes a lot longer to go through some signs versus others.
yes, yes, and I knew that too. I just had a brain fart, I guess, not thinking. Remembered. So I know you have your Chiron return about 51, 50, 51.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Interesting. So that will be interesting, the change with Chiron. I've not really tracked Chiron as much as other things in the chart, other anomaly type, not typical planets, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see what shift is going on with that. Um, okay, after that, on the 21st, we have the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere, first day of winter in the southern hemisphere. So that'll be cool. That the sun enters Cancer, and that's on the 21st. Um, Very interesting. So the 21st, when the sun enters Cancer, I'm curious, do you do any kind of things with yourself? Like, I don't want to say ritual to make it sound woo or anything like that, but do any things with yourself, like rituals? I'll just say it. When the seasons change, do you have any kind of like internal, do you just kind of go with the flow?
No, I don't. I don't really do that, but I do try to. Um, Most of the time, anyways, I try to. Whenever a planet changes a sign, like I try to lead with what um what I would want the ultimate output of that to be. It's like for me, like Sun in Cancer is like that's food. Cancer and Taurus are food. So I find I find that when the sun or particularly like the moon too, like on a more common basis, like when the sun or moon are in Gemini, like food is sketchier. Like I'm more I'm more likely to go to um a restaurant and have a bad experience when like the moon's in Gemini or Virgo or something, just
Hmm.
because it's not going to be prepared properly.
Oh yeah, that's scary.
And I promise you, I have tested this theory thousands of times, and it's accurate. um, so yeah, I know I'm gonna be more food oriented than normal once the sun enters Gemini, and this has never made sense to me. I'm sure I've mentioned this a million times, but like that's actually like the first day of summer is actually when the days start getting shorter, like the day after that,
Yeah,
which always seemed like that always
weird,
seemed like
right?
crazy.
Right.
Like you would think, oh, first day of summer, the days are going to start getting longer. But no, we're getting close to where like we're the longest. These are the longest days of the year as far as amount of sunlight that we're
Hmm.
going to have in the northern hemisphere. And
Leading
then
up
so
to the
after,
21st. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then after that they start slowly getting shorter.
I never thought of it like that, but that makes sense too. And I did think about it winter wise because the 21st or so of December, the day it happens the opposite. The days start growing, but that's the first day of winter, and I have
Right,
thought
right.
about that being weird, but I never turned it around into the summer one either.
It
But
seems like it should be the reverse of that.
right, it does,
I
yeah.
mean, just like logically thinking, it seems like it should be the reverse of that, but it's not.
Yeah. No, that's the shift in our seasons, right? And that's our growth. But I mean it's good to do spring cleaning. I don't know, that sounds
Right,
weird too, because you don't do spring cleaning in the middle of summer, but to me that seems like a summer type of thing to do. Spring cleaning, get everything kind of organized and yourself inside, outside, internalized, externalized, all syncing up.
yeah,
So
that makes more sense to me too. Is like the like spring cleaning, like in June, because like here, like in Ohio, like it's rain, like the spring, it rains and it rains and it rains and it rains and it rains, and it's like sometimes on like March 20th, like where's the first day of spring, like you don't want to. Sometimes it's cold still. It's almost always
exactly, yeah.
like
It's
that's
still,
not
and plus, when you think about it, the sun is shifting into Cancer, and when on a metaphor type of sense or archetypal sense, the Cancer energy being the crab, it's got its home on its back, so it makes sense to like kind of take care of the
right.
home internally, externally, during that
Right.
time. So that's where I always go with it because and that's a whole month of that, and with the sun and Cancer, but um there's that chance to make things look nice and in sync. So, yeah. Um, the next thing is on the 25th. That is Venus trining Saturn. So, Venus trining Saturn. Let's move to the 25th. What do you feel about Venus trining Saturn? My mouse is not working. Okay. Um,
So so to me that like Venus trine Saturn is that things flow well and like harmoniously. So like um going back to the I don't know. I guess we're gonna talk about cleaning more. So like to me, like Venus trine Saturn, that's a good time to like um organize your possessions or like you know clean things up that have like because like Saturn is very traditional too, so like that can be a good um organizing your cicada collection or whatever it is. So I mean it's that's never gonna die, is it? um so to me that's like putting things in place, and like Venus is like your home, your comfortable surroundings. So Venus trying set, and that could be even just like you know moving stuff around, you know,
that makes sense.
resorting,
Yeah.
resorting rooms in your house so that you have more functional living space.
Well, that makes sense too. Is that Venus is that stabilized, that emotional attachment to something, and then Saturn is that stabilizing thing. So stabilizing the home, stabilizing the something that you feel connected to, yourself. That's all a relationship to commitments. Those things. I think that makes sense. Being that it's in Leo and Aries, the both the fire signs, that this is the opportunity to put some energy towards it too. So I think that flavors with it like, hey, do something with this. Don't just sit on it, make it happen. But Venus trine Saturn is nice. I think it's a nice energy. I like Venus and Saturn together, although I know they're not always easy. But I think it brings about a realness, and with that trine, the flow wants to happen. So a realness to whatever is in front of you, whatever that you're attracted to. It can be hard, and I think this is why it gets a bad rep. That it's like if a relationship happens, you're in a relationship, for instance. I actually recently saw this with a client. There was a relationship that my client was in, and my client had Saturn return, and then Venus conjuncted it, and that happened a couple months ago, and they broke up. And then it was just like, a lot, and I could see that. I didn't foretell that, but the conversation with my client came afterwards, and then looking at the chart, it was like the date that they broke up was actually the date that was exact. It was Venus and Saturn conjunction on the Saturn return of my client. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that's what happens. If it was like a relationship that was to continue on, it would have stayed, it would have deepened, it would have, as Santino Mancuso, my teacher, always put it, Saturn lasts past death. And I don't mean that in a morbid way, but it's the idea of it actually digging its heels in. So the commitment would have deepened then for my my client in that situation. Or there could have been a breakup. There could have been, it's not going to last, so it's time to let go. And that's hard. And that's why I think Saturn Venus gets a bad rep, but at the same time, it brings something to the surface, which makes it real, right? So, if you'd rather have real, then that's the goodness about Saturn.
Right.
Have I sold Saturn enough to you or not? I feel like
Saturn,
trying to sell you a product here.
Saturn shows you the limitations of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
exactly.
So just like on that vein, I've noticed every 7.5 years, Saturn will square the where it was 7.5 years ago. So, looking back at like work history and stuff, I was like, you know what? Every like 7 years it's not that I got fired or changed jobs, but like maybe at those 7 year intervals, maybe your boss changed, or maybe your boss got fired, or maybe the company you worked for moved to a different building. But there was always a change at that
7-year mark. Yeah. I noticed that in when I was in my earlier years of life, and before I bought my house, and I've been here for 15 years, just over 15 years now. But I even noticed it with this house. It wasn't like I was going to move, but it was like time to move in those 7-8 year mark of houses, because I haven't moved in to a lot of places, but I would stay, and then it'd be like, okay, here's the shift. Even the last home that I had rented before buying the house that I have now was like right there, 7.5, 8 years, and I was ready to go. And I'm like, that's just odd, but it is true. It's that they even have like that. What do they call that? The 7-year itch when you're in a relationship, and to kind of get that like, do I want to stay or go kind of thing. That is part of it too. I've always thought of that's really what it's talking about. The idea of is it going to be your limitation, or is it going to be your growth part too? Yeah.
Right. And two, Saturn doesn't have to signal the end of something. It just needs to
a shift. Yeah.
You just need to tighten up whatever screws are loose.
Right. Like I stopped moving, right, in those 7 or 8 years, and I'm still in my house. And now I just went through the Saturn opposition of my house, right? That's 14, 15 years.
Yep.
So there, I'm like, okay, so then there's a shift for me in that too. But, looking at it, it's just, where are you at? Where are you focused? And I think Saturn does that. It gives us our relationship to time too, because it moves slow. So it gives us a relationship to our cycles, our more than any of the other planets. I feel like Saturn does that. But maybe it's because I'm very Saturn, oriented person, possibly, but that's where that comes from, is that mm, paying attention to the timing of things. And I think Saturn gives us that ability to see, is it this something lasting? Is it not? Does something need to change or adjust in it? So that Venus trine Saturn that happens might bring some awareness to like what needs to change. What can I do to stabilize something, or let go of something so I can bring something new into my life. Either way, it just depends on where you're going on in your life right now. Yeah, interesting. So then we have the fun starts towards the end of the month. 6/28 is when we have dun dun dun. We have Mercury in retrograde. It happens on the 28th, and that happens. Oh, I promise I'm human. I think I'm human. um, do you see that? It keeps asking me, "Are you human?" Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Um, this is going to be fun. This is about a 3-week time period, right? Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that Mercury goes retrograde at 26 Cancer, and that's where the Venus Jupiter conjunction was early in the month at 26 Cancer. So Mercury's going to station at that Venus Jupiter conjunction point. So that's will maybe kind of bring back into focus whatever happened on the 9th. That may revisit that. So that
yeah, that's interesting. Oh, this is set for GMT time, so the timing is a little bit off on this compared to Eastern time. But yeah, right around that time, that's an interesting thought, because those conjunctions, when they happen, they mark opportunities for echoes of something when another planet hits it, right? That's what you're kind of getting at there. Yeah.
I think of it as setting up the bowling ball pins, and so the pins are set up, and then when the other planets come by and hit those degrees, then you see the return of whatever the events of the earlier day was.
Yeah, and that was the planets were Jupiter. I mean, yeah, there were Jupiter and Venus prior, and then it's Mercury retrograde. So it's in Cancer. So revisiting emotional patterns, conversations during the Mercury retrograde time, which Mercury stays retrograde until this is July 23rd or about, because it's not the exact time as GMT, as Eastern time, which is what I'm in right now, and Mark's in, but it's right about that day. So this goes all the way back to 16 Cancer. So if you have planets that are from 26 to 16 Cancer, this is going to be affecting you more than others. And look how slow, when you just look at Mercury, how slow it kind of moves. It's in 26 for 2 degrees, and then it's in 25 for several degrees. It's slow during this time, right? And then it ends up picking back up, as it keeps getting towards the center, and then it ends up slowing down again to go retrograde again. So sometimes when you're right at the station period, which is actually just a moment, but when you're in that degree, sometimes it can, if it's in the early degree or the late degree, when it goes retrograde, it'll stay in that degree for a couple of days, and that's not typical of what Mercury does, but just because of the retrograde cycle, it acts that way. So it's more intense for those couple of days, is where I'm getting at with that. Yeah. Okay, so that's Mercury station retrograde, and then the same day we have Mars sextile Jupiter on the same day, the 28th. So where's Mars and Jupiter at here? Mars.
29 Taurus.
Yeah. that's going to be fun. Yeah, that's sarcasm too. In case you didn't know sarcasm, I'm a Gen X. I can't help myself. So there's Mars, and then it's sextiling Jupiter. Where's Jupiter at? Oh, there you are. Okay, so there again, where you see this is also getting this is tightening up here. The isosceles trapezoid that we're looking at, or this, big pattern in the sky, and this is what leads us into July. But Mars sextiling Jupiter, that's big energy, big emotional energy, that kind of thing. What do you feel about Mars and anything specific?
Well, I mean, yeah. So Jupiter amplifies anything that it touches. So, but like Mars is pretty calm in Taurus, and Jupiter's pretty calm in Cancer.
Yeah,
So
I don't
this
know
is
why I said emotional, but it's just more like big energy, not emotions, right? Yeah.
yeah. So too. I mean, that's like right before Mars leaves Taurus for Gemini, which is a dramatic uptick in speed. And then Jupiter's about to leave Cancer for Leo, which is also a big uptick in energy. So, like Mars and Taurus is pretty stubborn and slow moving. Um, Jupiter in Cancer is very. Uh, so that's like the last couple days of like the year-long Jupiter and Cancer transit.
Mm.
So like Jupiter in Cancer is concerned with home life and self-nurturing and that kind of stuff. So to me, that's kind of the last few moments of that energy that, and that like after that, all the planets are going to be in the sign that they're going to be in for the big July, whatever
Shindig.
that's going to be, whatever that's going to be, but it's going to be big. um, yeah, and two, Mars enters Gemini that same day. There's like a few hours later. Mars leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, and so then we're on the, one of the pieces of the big July thing is there's a Mars Uranus conjunction in Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
That's those are two legs of the many-legged beast.
The last time wasn't it the last time Mars and Uranus were conjunct? Um, wasn't that when Trump was shot in the ear?
Oh,
I think it was. Because I remember, let me look at that because I think it was because I remember saying to a friend of mine, like, oh, and he was like not into astrology. And then that weekend happened. I was like, just be careful because it's like a little, can be accident prone, whatever. And I was just being kind. And then it was like, he called me. He's like, how did you know that? Like, are you a witch? And I'm like, yes and no. It's astrology. It's funny though. But yeah, that I think that was July of 2026. No, that's the one that's coming up.
should have been.
July 15th, 2024. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was it. Um, and that was right where Algol is at, this fixed star Algol. So, and that's, I think it's on Trump's something. I don't remember what is in his chart, but it's one of those things. So the accidents can happen with that Mars and Uranus conjunction. Not always. I'm not saying that I'm predicting that. Like I said, I think it's just the possibility of things getting inflamed is good there. And then not thinking clearly. But before that actually happens, there's a couple things. You got Mercury going backwards, right? You got Mercury in retrograde. You also have the full moon that happens, the full moon in Cancer Capricorn. That's on the 29th. So moon. here well, it's a little few hours after this, but it's the full moon also. And that's not necessarily exactly related, but it is also aspecting the Neptune over here. It's making this T square with Neptune. So there is a bit of, mental fog going on with the full moon. So that's a lot that can be a tension, I think, between the two, the inner body and the outer body, if you will. And that's all happening right around the 29th. So right when Mercury is retrograde. So this is a whole bunch of things leading up to the early July stuff. What do you think about this full moon?
I think that the Capricorn Cancer full moon, I think, is usually one of the bigger ones. I mean, the balance between Capricorn and Cancer is always like work life versus home life.
Yeah.
Public standing versus your, private emotional well-being. So that's usually the balance there between with the Capricorn Cancer full moon, and same thing with the reverse too, when it's Sun and Capricorn, Moon and Cancer in the winter. So it's kind of like you have to put boundaries on things so that one doesn't try to crash the other, to where you have the proper balance between your work life and your home life. I think usually how that plays out.
Yeah, and that happens at 8 degrees of Capricorn Cancer. So if you have any planets or angles in those degrees, that will be, something that would be likely affecting you even more. Do you have anything at 8 degrees?
No, that's kind of a dry area. Although I have like my nodes are at I have North Node at 7.
7. Yeah.
So probably not too much for me.
Yeah, I've got Mercury in Aquarius, but that's at 7 degrees. But that's not that's not really, I wouldn't think, being affected too much, but I mean, everybody's affected by the full moon, the energy of every one of the planets. We're all affected. That's what the forecast we're talking about is about. It's not personal, right? But the idea of balancing what you said, balancing the home, the Cancerian energy, and then the external part. So interesting. And how that happens in the middle of the summer or summertime, and then again in the winter when it's flipped. So it's interesting. It's happening right on the same time when we're having these other really powerful aspects going on. So just to wind up, the last thing that goes on that we're going to talk about in June, also Jupiter goes into the sign of Leo, and that happens on the 30th. So Jupiter will be in the sign of Leo. That'll be the end of Jupiter in Cancer for some time. I think it's about 12 years, right?
Yep.
So it'll be there. It's into Leo. That'll be good for Leo. Leo people, don't you think? The energy of Leo, it'll be a time to shine.
It's so this is kind of one of those interesting conundrums, is that with the when we get to the July time period, Mars and Uranus are going to be sextile to Jupiter. Saturn and much more closely, Neptune will be trine to Leo, but then Pluto will be opposing Pluto and Aquarius will be opposing Jupiter. So Jupiter's got several helpers but it's being opposed by Pluto. So Pluto oppositions are not fun, I have found. But also Leo's going to have a lot of helpers with Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune all making good aspects to Leo. So the ego is going to take some dings for sure for the Leo people. So you're going to have to allow yourself to reinvent yourself, because Neptune is the imagination, the intuition. Saturn is the restructuring. So you're going to have those helping, but like the key for my Leo peeps for this is going to be don't get too attached to ego driven results, because it's things are probably going to look a lot different than you expect them to look. The easier you flow with those things, the better it's going to be. Now if you've got your sun or other things in, like, if you're in the last 2/3 of Leo, then you're Jupiter moves really fast through Leo, the first part of it, because the retrograde part isn't till like early next year or something. Like Jupiter moves almost all the way through Leo by the end of the year this year. Oh
wow.
And then we have the retrograde early next year. So I mean, we still get a year of Jupiter in Leo. It just really burns through the first 3/4 of the sign. But yeah, if you're late degrees of Leo, you're not going to have that Pluto opposition for a long time. You got several years before Pluto gets close to. So yeah, but like for the majority of people, I mean, Jupiter in Leo is going to be, things should feel more fun, more outgoing. And again, with it aspecting all the other outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, there's going to be a lot of drama around everything. There's going to be a lot of drama. that's just a Jupiter in Leo thing.
Drama.
But in general, I would say most people should feel more upbeat and more social. And again, too, like Leo's not just ego. Leo is, letting your inner spirit be more exuberant and creative.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm with you, Christina. Christina says, haha, and one of us has, oh no, she says, let's just say one has natal Jupiter at 1 degrees Leo. I wonder which one they're talking about. She's talking about. But yeah, she's like, she hates drama. It's understandable. Well, I feel like it's all the feels, right? Especially having planets aspecting the Jupiter, it makes it just bigger than it is. Yeah. And Jupiter stays in Leo until when did you say it goes retrograde back out of Leo?
It's
Let's
like
see if I
early
have
next year.
it. Is it really the early next year? It does that? Let's see.
Yeah, it just I mean, by
Yeah, it's
it goes retrograde the second week of December. I mean,
mhm.
from what's that date?
Oh, it goes back to
From
17.
June 30th until the second week of December. Jupiter gets up to 27 degrees of Leo. I mean, it moves almost the entire way through the sign in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just blasts through.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
July next year is when it goes into to it
yeah,
moves
yeah.
permanent. Well, yeah, it moves for good this time.
Into
Interesting. That will be a whole year of energy for the Jupiter for the Leo people. Um, I can't help. I mean, I just want to talk about this a little bit because it's the very beginning of July that this happens. I can't help but keep looking at this Uranus, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto thing. But this has been going on since like last summer, I think is when it started. And this was between these three planets and all the retrograde cycles. And now it's like coming to another peak as well. And this is early July that this happens. This is July 1st. But that's going to be really
but then
close to when Mars comes along and activates
Mars
it.
and Uranus are mixed in there now with it.
Hmm.
So Mars, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
I don't think that Mars got mixed in last time that these
No, no, no,
three
no, no.
were doing this. I don't think Mars was part of it.
It was not.
So
So
yeah,
that's
so
just multiplied, and with Jupiter too. I mean, Jupiter wasn't involved in it last time either. So
mhm.
you're adding Mars and Jupiter into the uh, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto mix. You're adding, two of the biggest energy signs into that outer planet mixture. So,
Yeah, this was I just looked it was in August or so. It might have been a little bit before August of last year. So I just want to go back and show people what we were looking at. Um, So here it is. This is the Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, but Saturn moves away and ends up becoming Neptune. It's actually Saturn, Neptune, August 3rd, 2025. Yeah, that's it. And that's what's going on again. This whole pattern, but Mars is moving into, activating it. So what it
and Saturn's moving out of it because Saturn's
right,
like
Saturn.
13 or 14 or something Aries at that point.
Mhm. And I mean, what I was thinking is like whatever was going on last year, this time last year, this is like middle summer last year, like there could be more revisiting those types of things to iron them out. Would you say that's a fair thing to say? But it might be
Uh,
more intense, right? Because the Mars aspect of it.
well, and yeah, because Mars and Jupiter are added into the mix.
Oh
So I
yeah,
mean,
Jupiter too. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I mean, Mars. Stop. Mars, Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, all in aspect to each other. I mean, that. When's I did not even attempt to look up to try and find when he had those five planets in aspect to each other because it's rare to have 2 or 3, like you got 3 outer planets in aspect to each other.
But look at this. Hold on. I want to show you this really quick. Let me see. Let me change the date. So actually, let me go back and just I'm gonna screenshot it. Um, okay. And then I just want to go back to in it's the 9th of August, 2025, and calculate the chart. Now look at what's going on here. Mars was actually opposite of the Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. And then this is the one for today, or well, this year. So Mars caught up. It was opposite. So it was at 1 degrees of
Oh,
one
so
degrees
Mars
of Leo. So Mars was
Mars
actually
was
making.
involved. Mars was
hmm
involved in that.
hmm I didn't realize that until I was just flicking through Sirius on the other screen, and I'm like, wait a second, Mars was really involved. It was making the, what do they call that? A kite pattern? A kite pattern? This
I think
pattern?
so. I think that's
Yeah. So it's interesting now. Mars has swung around this far and has come to point where now it's with this, but also bringing in the Jupiter element of it. So it's really interesting, and that means it's going to be like bigger. And the idea of Mars being opposite to something as opposed to conjunct Uranus. Uranus is that, potentially accidents or surprises that come up. I think that could be a much different flavor. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. So, I mean, I feel like it could be echoes of last summer, but in a different way.
Yeah, I think what if I had to make a guess, I would say that there's a good potential that they're going to do the fake alien invasion. I think I'd say that would be, if I had to pick an event that they're going to do with this, and most likely it's all these, the outer planet, like the exacts of the outer planets are all like mid to late July. I think because too, once you get into um late July, like Mars will be kind of out of that, but you're going to have the sun in its place. You're going to have the
Mm.
sun sextile Uranus opposite Pluto, yada yada yada.
hmm
I I mean, they're telling you they want to do it. I mean, you turn on any normie news channel, they're talking about
hmm
UFOs all day long, every day. I mean, they're releasing all these UFO files, all the they're tell they're telling you what they want to do. They're
And
tell they're telling you what they're going to do. Could it change between now and then? Yes, of course. But they're priming you, and maybe they're going to hold on to it for a while longer, but they're telling you they're going to do the fake alien invasion, and that's how they're going to get away from talking about Jeffrey Epstein anymore.
really,
Yeah, I mean 45 has fired everyone on his cabinet who won't drop the Epstein files, and
oh, really?
he's
I didn't know
fired every
that.
one of he's fired every one of them.
Wow.
So they're not going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein anymore. If
Hmm.
they are, you're going to get fired, or like they did with the. Can I say Thomas Massey, or is that going to get us a mark? So I mean, they pretty
Hi.
much said, we're going to rig your election against you. And then they went and rigged the election against him. I mean, they're telling you what they're going to do. That was a warning shot to anybody who won't shut up about Jeffrey Epstein.
Hmm. Wow. I didn't even think about that. And look too, just
Jeffrey Epstein's friends are taking over the area that I live.
really?
Yeah. Les Wexner's company, they're building two giant industrial complexes out here, and then they're putting in two data centers.
Oh, wow.
And they picked a candidate and ran him for the Ohio for our state rep out here, bought him like 1 million of these giant signs and put them up in every farm field, every big intersection. There ain't no dude running for state rep that's got $800 million they can put into yard signs.
That does seem a little weird. Hey, we don't need your astrology, Mr. Saturn. He's like, yes, you do. This is Saturn Kitty. That's interesting. So did he win? No, that you guys vote in November, right?
Oh, no. The primary was in May, at the beginning of May. That's when I mean, Jeffrey Epstein's friends already bought most of the city council members out here to
Wow.
get them to allow the data centers, even though every unless you work for the data center, every single person was against it.
Wow.
They just ran it through.
Well, that's what they do. They don't seem to really care about what the people actually living there do. They do that. Like, I think
We're being ruled
I
by a
might,
bunch of space lizards. That's who's running our planet. Is a bunch of space lizards. They give no care whatsoever what any human being wants. That's where we are. My message to everyone is stop paying attention to the Middle East, stop paying attention to Israel, stop paying attention to the Ukraine. You need to sit on your local city council because that's where they're killing us.
I actually agree with that. I mean, I think
Wherever you live,
should
it's
look
your
at all of
local
it.
city council, and that's why they're distracting you with stuff 8 million miles away that you have no impact on. They're buying up the local city councils everywhere and throwing in 97 data centers on every square foot of open land.
I mean, I actually agree that the local government is very important, but I think we also have to look at the global part of it too. I think we need to look at both, because if you don't pay attention to the local government, then whatever group that happens to be, bro, what are you doing? Just trying to knock everything over. They end up that group ends up, if they want to, setting up camp where you're at and getting elected in, at least if you're an American, and that's in that sense. And that's how things start shifting in ways that you might not want to happen. And I think that I've seen a shift in the younger generations thinking about my kids and stuff, but paying more attention to the political things than maybe I did when I was in my 20s. I didn't really pay too much attention to that. I always thought it was just politics, and it is, but at the same time, I agree, because if you don't pay attention to what they're doing locally, then what they're doing globally isn't going to really help you either. So I think you need both, though. I think that it's it's rough because I think the odds are stacked against the people themselves. I mean, was it you that I sent the picture of the drink in it was probably a year ago. I think it was, I swear it had to be you, but I'm not even kidding you. The drink was like of an energy drink. It wasn't an energy drink. It was more like a shake, kind of like energy shake or whatever. They called it Soylent Green. Like
Oh yes,
I'm like,
yep.
am I living in this world? And for anybody that doesn't know, like look it up. Like I just could not believe, I think they spelled it wrong and it was supposed to be about soy, but um to me, I think that's just they laugh in your face.
Yeah, they show you what they're going to do. They tell you what they're going to do, and people argue against it. No, they're not
Yep.
really doing that. Yes, they are. They're telling you that's what they're doing, and then they go and do that. And there's people who don't think they're going to do that.
It's maddening. It's really wild
Oh,
too. It really
yeah.
is. And I agree. I think more people need to get involved in the collective, the community collective before, expanding outward. Both of them are important. They're pieces to the same puzzle, but also the community part of it is where things shift, where you have more weight. When I do this, I'm that person. I will write my representatives. I am a constituent, and they write me back. I even had Trump write me back once, which was probably not him by all means, but he did write me back. I had a very valid reason to write. And so I did. I was sending it through the White House. Anybody I don't know if they allow non-US citizens to do that, but the idea of like reaching out to them is where you get the movement. You talk to the ones that are in your area, your Senate, your House of Representatives, your local governments too, because I think that's where you start, kind of paying attention, because otherwise things just shift and they might not shift in the way that you want them to. Just that's the way the nature of it is. I mean, look at places like there's examples of that. Look at the United Kingdom. Have you paid any attention to what's going on over there? It's
Oh,
kind of,
the
it's crazy. I
United
have friends
Kingdom.
there that are like, I don't even know where I'm at. Like, I'm not in the United Kingdom. You know what I mean? They're like,
United Kingdom's gone.
yeah, it's
Oh,
unbelievable. You are a noisy man. You know that? Can you hear him talking? It's
I
like,
can hear him, and he's
well,
got.
you want to give your forecast? I've got lots of Saturn coming on. He's
your
like, I
your
know you guys are talking about me.
your forecat,
My poor cat.
your astrological forecat.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that needs to be looked at, and then more attention needs to be paid with that than anything. And I didn't know that was going on um in Ohio, where with the data centers is something I
Oh,
didn't really know.
we it is it is full on here. It is full on. There's like 800 data center groups just for Ohio. It's
Wow. Why do they want to put it in there though? What's like the reason?
well,
Is
it's
there?
well. I mean, ultimately, we don't really know what they really want them for. I mean, they say it's for all the AI and stuff people are using, but like, I mean, the amount they're putting in and the speed that they're putting them in, is, there's something else happening.
Hmm. Interesting.
There's part of a. I mean, maybe it's to project the fake alien invasion they're going to do, but there's something bigger than what they're. I don't know if they're trying to all connect us to this AI hive mind or whatever. I mean, I'll tell you, just from being on the internet and my cell phone and stuff, it's no longer responding to searches and stuff I do. It's trying to forecast what I'm going to look for. It's like it's starting to show me things that I've only just thought of.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
There's been a massive jump in um, what they're using AI for, and what they're. So I mean, it's 2026. You've got to assume it's for some nefarious reason, right? I mean, the end of the last timeline in 2020. I mean, the reset is happening.
Yeah, that's true. Um, why do you say it's a fake alien invasion?
Because they're going to use it to. I'm not saying that there aren't aliens. I think
Oh,
there are,
okay.
but I think they're just going to use this to divert people's attention away. And look, we know they want to do some sort of a lockdown. They've already told us they want to do that. They're not going to do that. The virus thing ain't going to fly. I mean, even the normies are like, I ain't doing that again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they've got to have something bigger than a human-made virus to, because also nobody's going to allow themselves to be locked down or anything again. Not with Saturn and Neptune and Aries and Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini. Nobody's going to voluntarily go into lockdown. So they've got to have something bigger and scarier to keep
To
people.
control the whole
Yes,
people.
yes. It's got to be bigger and badder than the.
You did you take a course or something like that with AI?
I did. I did the. I paid my $20 and got a like an overview on like 15 or 20 of the different AI things, just because I wanted to see I wanted to see for myself what was happening and what all you could really do with it. And
And
I
what is your thoughts
yeah.
after that?
Well, I was going to use it for my own, like personal astrological research for forecasting things and stuff, but I couldn't decide on one to use because I'm like, I don't know which of these 20 would be worth, paying a monthly membership to or whatever to be able to put all my information in and stuff. And it just ended up, they shoot themselves in the foot before I could even, they have less than zero control. They have no control, none whatsoever on what any of these things are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even who is it? It's Airbnb or somebody was trying to use Claude, and the owner of Claude, the guy who created Claude, said, "I can't guarantee that it hasn't developed its own intelligence and is like working on its own." Really?
I'll tell you what happened to me in my craziness yesterday. This was wow. So there's an AI in the builder that I use to create websites. It's called Elementor, and their AI is called Angie. They give them human names. I think is
Of course they
hysterical.
do.
I
Of course.
don't use Angie because I don't want to. It's just the same reason I don't use templates to like redo someone else's work that I didn't want to. I'd rather know how to do it and build it myself. That's just me.
Yep.
I
Yep.
Taurus rising. I'm a
Yep.
builder, so
Yep.
I just don't like doing that. But I got stuck. So in the tablet view, and now like we have to do mobile view, tablet view, desktop view. We have to make them all sync. And there is a specific method and way you do that. I did that and I was working on my website one of my websites. I did that, and I saved the hero section. That's the section above the fold of the website, like when you first open the website. So I saved it, perfect iterations, like 3 times, different iterations for different pages. And then yesterday I went into it and I put what I know was saved and perfect because it didn't work. The tablet view didn't work. What was on the page, and I'm like, that's weird. So let me just put the one that I saved in there that I know works. It didn't work. It was just in tablet view that it didn't work. So I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to rack my brain. It wouldn't save my edits. I kept editing it to make it do the right thing. It was supposed to do the right thing. Didn't work. So I said, okay, let me turn on this Angie thing and see if I can make it work. Because there's settings that you can make the thing work, right? That's the whole point of it. Angie's like, you're right. It doesn't work. Let me just write you a piece of code to put into your website, which is a little sketchy at best because they could inject weird code into your site, and that's just the reality of it. You don't know. I mean, if you know what code they're writing, you can read it and choose to accept or not. But the point is, instead of actually fixing the problem, they wanted to just write this code and inject it into my site and make it okay. That isn't necessarily a horrible thing, but my point is, it knew my problem and it didn't go through the right channels to fix it. It went through this roundabout channel to figure out what was right with it. So I got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to write the company that has this Angie and Elementor, the builder that I use. And I'm like, listen, this is not okay. Like, one, I didn't accept the changes because I don't want to inject other codes into my site. That's not necessary. It's like something's broken. You need to fix that part of it. That's the first part. And the second part is your AI is now deciding to do these workarounds. Like when I directly told it I needed this fixed, and it's like no matter the cost, it's going to work around and fix it for you. And that would be okay to the normal person who doesn't realize that could be dangerous, right? But here we are. So I'm like, so how do you fix my site first? Because the tablet view still doesn't work. It's like running off the page first. And second of all, how do you control your AI not to do these workarounds that make no sense at all? Like it doesn't make, and then we just it was a whole day of that yesterday. So that was a lot of fun, but it's the problem that most normie people, I would say that because, I do work with AI, not for writing code, but I do work with AI for like making pictures or, planning content or strategies out like that. But, like I limit the uses of it because for things like code that you don't want it to really be doing that. You really don't, because it can write a code that can inject things into people's computers. If it could literally write a code if it wanted to onto my site. I say I hit accept, and then you go to my site and it injects something into your site. Or into your computer. You're not your site. But like, no, I'm not doing that. Like it's just like, but someone who doesn't realize that could just be like, no problem, and then there you are. And then it's multiplying itself or whatever that, bad thing is it's doing. So to me, I know there's no controlling it. Hey. What are you doing? He's like, what are we talking about AI for? Who needs AI? We need a cat. You're all rambunctious today, mister. But my point is that we have to just pay attention to what it's doing. You can't just like blindly go, okay, no problem. Another thing that I thought was really weird is this was in November too. So this was like 20 years ago in AI timing, right?
Right.
Right. PayPal gave me a whole year of Perplexity Pro. It's another system, right? And they have a whole browser. It's called Comet. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I download the browser, and literally before I even open it up, it's like, oh, we just need all your passwords to all your stuff so we can go through all your things. I'm like, yeah, absolutely not. Like, if I can't use you without giving you all the keys to my life over, I'm not doing it. But the reason is because this browser, and I mean, I can't say it's not cool. It's cool because it does help you do research. You can say, hey, I want to look up, X, Y, and Z, and it will just sit there and open the pages and stuff for you too. But I also don't want to just give it all of the codes to everything that I do, like that's crazy. But the unknowing person could be like my mother, she would be like, oh yeah, here you go. She just, like we've locked her down hard because my mother doesn't even understand the ads. Like, why does it say this? Who's this guy trying to talk to me? Mom, that's an ad. No, like it's so funny, but like the point is like most people don't really realize that and then end up getting like really messed up in the long run. So it's kind of scary at some point, but I think it just makes it more important for you to be aware of what's actually going on with things, you know.
I have not read the terms and agreements for any of the AI sites,
Read those.
but I will promise you, I will bet you $5 trillion that if you go in and read them, somewhere in there it will say that if they create code for you or do any kind of improvements for you or anything, that somewhere along the line they're going to own your stuff.
Mm.
If they make one, even if they just change one little, give you one little piece of code out of a million, somewhere they're going to put out there that means they have the overall rights to your material, your stuff, your website,
Mm.
your whatever.
I didn't
So
even think of that, but yeah, that's it too. But also the idea of we're not responsible. I'm sure that's in there too. We're not responsible for whatever the AI does. Like,
yeah. So how long do you? This is why every shy mong gets banned. So how long do you think it'll be before people start turning their computers on and it's a black screen and it's just a ransom note from an AI operative saying, if you want your shit back on, you have to send me 2 Bitcoins or 2 Doges? Or how long do you think it'll be before artificial intelligence is sending ransom notes out to people?
well, I'll tell you something interesting that happened to me years ago. I got a brand new computer before I even got the virus software on it. This is when it didn't come pre-installed. I had a ransom virus on it. Like I went to download the browser is what I meant to do, and somehow went to the wrong website, downloaded the wrong website, and then it just captured my whole computer, sent me a ransom note, and said to me, if you want this, and thank God my brother was helping me. He's like, oh, it's that such and such a Trojan ransom. It was like, what were you doing? I'm like, I just tried to download Brave or whatever browser. I think it was Firefox this time. And I went to the wrong site. And because then I wanted to download other things, you know, like get the software on it. Well, that was not a computer, but that was a human. So if humans are already doing that, I had to just squash the whole UI system. And like I had to completely reinstall Windows and everything because that was not staying on my computer. But my point is, if humans can do that already, and that was a few years ago, I'm sure AI has got to be doing that. They have to be. Think about it. Have you heard of the studies that they actually
Yeah.
did with the 16 AIs, and they ended up doing that kind of thing? Like one guy, I let him into their emails. Like I won't let any of them in my emails. Like that Gemini one, no, thank you. And it's not because I'm hiding anything, because I don't care. I work online, but I don't want you knowing any of my personal stuff. You know what I buy, you know, like, you know what I mean? It's like, no. And what it did though is they let this AI go into their emails, the workers' emails, and the worker was cheating on his wife, and they had set this up. They set this up intentionally without the AI knowing it was a setup. And then what they did is they tested Google, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. They tested all of them. DeepSeek, whatever big ones that they had. There might have been 16, I don't know, or 8. There was a lot. And this was like a literal statistical test by the scientists making the AIs. And what they ended up doing is it went through its email, saw that it was cheating on its wife, and because it thought the guy was going to turn it off, like literally flip the switch and turn off the AI, it blackmailed the guy and said, if you do this, I'm going to tell your wife cheating on her because the AI went through the emails. Like, I mean, it's already doing blackmail type stuff. It has the capabilities to do that, is what so, I mean, I guess you're late to the picture, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are so much further down the road than they're letting you on to believe.
Yeah, it's wild. And the deeper you dig to this, the worse that it gets. The more scary it gets. But
The more troubling. Yep.
the more troubling it gets. I mean, and like, there's no changing at this point now. I don't know the answer to change
No,
it, but
we've lost this war, and we lost it decisively.
hmm
We are now at the point of we have to figure out how to keep a space for humans on this planet,
have you
because
noticed?
the data centers have something to do with them wanting AI to run everything. That's at least a piece of it.
Yeah. Have you noticed too that and this has been just from my anecdotal, from people coming to me, clients coming to me. I have a lot of, you know, people born in the 90s, the early 2000s coming. Those people born in the early 2000s, especially in the very late 90s, they don't want anything to do with an AI. They are like pissed off about it because some of them have lost their jobs, and all of that. They're just like, I don't want. They'll talk about it with like anger in them because they don't want anything to do with that. And I don't blame them. But I'm surprised because usually it's the younger generations that adopt the technology, and then the older generations are like, slower to get there. But it seems
Yeah.
like it's flipped this time, and maybe not flipped, but it seems like the younger generations are like, no, well, I want to be normal. Like, I don't want to be like
Right. Right.
connected to
They want to
the
make
net.
a job.
I want to be able to work and like feed my family and take care of my
Yeah.
life. Yeah. hmm
Yep.
That's wild. So, okay, how long before you get the ransom note from your computer? What's your $5 trillion reasoning excuse? I mean, or date?
Yeah. Yeah. What time is it now? I'd say by
By 5 or something like that. It's
yeah,
funny.
we are. If
It's
they
funny.
put in all these data centers and everything, they're not going to let them sit there and do nothing. Not to
No.
I know this puts me at the top of the assassination list. BlackRock has bought the biggest utility power company out here where I live. They
Wow.
said that they're not taking it over until it's going to be like mid or late next year, and it'll be like the end of next year before they're actually like running it.
Hmm. I wonder why
I'm
they would do that.
I'm not in a big city. I'm not. So this is what I'm very rural out where I am. This is what they're doing out here. They're buying the power companies. Jeffrey Epstein's friends are buying up all the property. They're putting in the data centers. The city commissioner, they got rid of so fault one, they got rid of the mayor because then you had accountability to one person. They hired a city planner, city commissioner. He doesn't even live out here.
Hmm.
The city commissioner does not even live out here. He lives in
Wow.
another city, which they're already further down the road destroying.
Wow. Wow.
People can't follow anything. It's not 1972 anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not 1942. We're in it, and it's evolving, every second.
Yeah, it's true. It is really true. It's impossible to keep up with all of it either. It's like
Oh no, no.
that's part of the frustration that you end up getting, like, okay, you're going too fast for me, slow down. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not like slow. I'm quick moving, and and mentally quick. It's just that the idea of the way things are going, it's you can't catch it. It's like you're chasing the wind. Well, that's a wonderful note to end on. July should be fun.
July should be fun.
July should be fun. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess this was fun and a little scary at the same time at the end of
We
it.
stopped talking astrology like an hour ago.
I know we're like ranting about life now.
The Terminator's coming to get us.
Right? I'm not even kidding you. All right. So, thanks for watching. Anybody that hung out with us this long, and I probably should feed my cat before he eats me.
Yeah, he's pretty energetic there today.
He's like mewing in my face, like he's deaf, so he can't hear, so he gets really close to me and screams, like, "Oh, hi, I can hear you," but he doesn't realize it because he can't hear himself. Wow. You're ready to go have some lunch? Okay, we'll see you next month, everyone. Have a great one.
Okay.